Why not grow your own greens? Here I am today. I want to talk about my own personal experience and I want to show you all the little small tips so that you can grow your own greens and you can enjoy that perfect basil in whatever you have, or that rosemary which will make your potatoes or the chicken so great in your own house, balcony or small garden if you have. And I have been doing this over 12, 13 years now, and I want to share my filtered experience over the years. Now let's go. First off, Turkey is in 4 seasons. It's such a beautiful place. In a pot like this, you can have 4 different kinds of greens at the same time. Depending on the season, at least twice you can harvest things. And sometimes if you really put a lot of care, you can have even 3 times a harvest. First of all, if you say, Refika, I cannot make the flowers stay alive, or I don't have a green hand, I cannot do that. For many of the flowers, I feel the same way. I always forget, and once I forget, I get the responsibility and I feel as if I killed someone, and that's like a whole different story. But if you start to make your own thymes, basils and etc., it becomes a different kind of relationship, and that relationship most of the time works. And if you start for once, you'll find out that it's much easier than you think. It's very different than having flowers or green plants in your house. It's much easier. My journey started when I wanted a really good basil, some really good thyme, and we had incredibly nice tasting tomatoes. And now the ones that we get in the shop do not have that satisfaction. So can I do that? So everything started like that. And at first year, it was first the greens, then the tomatoes came, then the potatoes came, then the pumpkins came. And now I enjoy a lot of things from my small garden. Now let's start how to grow your greens in a pot like this. First of all, if it's gonna be outside and you cannot control the water that goes through whatever you're gonna try to grow, what you have to do is to make holes at the bottom. Why? When it rains, if the water cannot get out somehow, it's gonna get collected in the soil, and the soil is gonna turn into mulch, and it's also gonna ruin the roots of whatever you plant, and the thing that you plant dies. So basically, there has to be a way for the water to get out. And to do that, for example, I have here 3 holes right now. I'm gonna have another one here to show you. It's a nail and a hammer. Ah! I'm not a good faker, huh? To make sure that the hole do not get closed, because it's here at the bottom, you have to push the sides like that, and to do that you have to just move the edges like that so the hole becomes bigger. Then I just put soil in this. The soil, when it's watered, can block the holes. So you need some kind of small stones. It could be like gray stones, it could be something like that, whatever you have. Actually, this is more dusty. I would have preferred something bigger, but today we have this one. Something like this. It's about 2 centimeters at the bottom so that the water gets collected in the soil, and then this acts like a filter. It doesn't let the soil to go out, but it just lets the water get out. That's it. So, at the bottom, stones. Then, when we say soil, actually we don't just talk about the soil. Soil is a mixture of 3 things. It's peat, it's fertilizer, and the soil itself. They have a ratio, and now I'll tell you about the ratio and why we need all of them together. First, we start with the soil. You can get the soil from a park. Can they get a soil?
No.
In Turkey, you can. We have 4 parts of soil. The soil, when rain comes, when you water the plant, it starts to become like this. Gets closer to each other and becomes like a stone. We need something kind of like a relaxer, something that will hold the water inside in the mixture, and that's called the peat. Peat is sometimes like this. It's natural, unnatural versions of it. It could be, for example, in a forest, dried skins of the trees, what falls from the trees. Those woody parts are really good torfs. What happens is, when you mix those kind of things in the soil, when the rain comes, it soaks the water. It keeps the soil moist and airy. What onion does in the dolma and köfte. The peat does it to the soil. And also, we need some extra energy. It's like eating sugary or eating carbohydrates. The soil also needs some kind of carbohydrates, and that's the fertilizer. Fertilizer could be natural fertilizer like the shit of a cow or a sheep, or very popular right now, some of my friends, their husbands do it, worm feces. I don't know, something like that. Sorry, don't mind my English. I'm gonna have 1 part of fertilizer, 1 part of peat, 4 parts of soil. That's the mixture. And I mix it really well. But as you can see, I do not mix the stones. Stones stay at the bottom. For example, in your soil, there could be things like this. You have to break them with your hands. This is what happens when the soil is without the peat. These are not also good for the soil.
It's a snail, no?
It's a snail, yeah. And when I was a small kid, I thought when you prepare soil, you have to just like press it really well. No. For the greens to grow and go around in the soil, it needs some space. So if the soil is like light and fluffy, it's better and it's easier for the green to grow around. So it's almost ready. If there are any stones like this, I get rid of them and my mixture is well and ready. I'm gonna talk about the seeds in a little while, a little more, but here I have purple basil and I'm going to put the seeds like this. Maybe half of it is gonna be purple basil. This is quite a lot. This is gonna cover almost 1 square meter of area when I like take them out and separate them. And to the half, I also want to have, these are small purslines. The soil that you put on top of the seed has to be not higher than twice the size of the thing that you plant. I'm gonna have some soil with my hands like this. I'm just gonna rub it like this so that all the seeds that I've done will be covered. I take these big parts out and I put my 2 hands like this, let the soil drop from between my hands. Some people might say, Refika, you have planted so many seeds in a small place. I always like planting this much and keeping everything under my control, then separating them 1 by 1 or 3 by 3 and then widening the area. Some people like use these and put 1 seed in each, but I'm never that tidy person, so I can never do that. Look at it between my hands. I put the thin soil here and the thick ones are kept in my hand. So I throw them like this. And now it's time to give the life water of these plants. We call that can suyu. Can is like the soul, the life. Su is water, life water. Now, when you want to water, don't do it with a hose and a lot of pressure. It has to be soft. It has to be something like a light rain. For example, I haven't used this for a while. I'm gonna check it like this. Okay, that's it. She's ready. At this time, if you are living in a place like us with many seagulls and crows, one thing that you also have to be very careful about is keeping these things away from them because they are watching us right now and they're sure that, okay, you get the purslane, I get the basil. They are that clever, guys. So in order to keep them away, we have something like this. It's a small wire. You put the wire, actually they sometimes take it off as well. So as you can see, I can get in. You see. You might ask, what can I plant? And I had in my book, I had listed them in 3 ways. First one is the easy peasy ones: mint, rocket, coriander, thyme, basil, chives, rosemary, parsley, and watercress. With a little more effort, it's tomatoes, green peppers, red peppers, cucumbers, ginger, and potatoes. If you really get the hang of it, green peas, artichoke, green beans, lemon. Lemon could be a little bit more effort as well. Bergamot, zucchini, Bartolini beans, any kind of beans. They will really be a joy to your life. For example, my mom almost never ever buy greens from any place. She just gives like 2 hours a week for the garden and that's it. So it is really possible and it's very relaxing. I've just recently read The Hobbies of the Sultans of Ottomans. You know who was a gardener?
I don't know which ones. I don't
Fatih,
know.
Fatih. He was conquering and doing so many things, but at the same time, for the relaxation, he was doing gardening. Now we have got the first idea of how to grow the greens. I want to show you when, for example, the greens, it starts to grow more, have few seedlings like this. How can you take the seedlings out and plant it in another place? You shouldn't like put the trowel directly to the root. It has to be a few centimeters away. You'll just feel it anyways, and push it from the bottom like that. So as you can see, she comes out with her roots like that. What I should do is have a hole like this. Then if you have an extra fertilizer somewhere, put some fertilizer at the bottom like that. A little one, not so much. This helps the root get into connection with the soil faster. And put it here. And then just press whatever you plant. Never touch the plant. Just touch the sides and push the soil a little bit so that the roots and the other soil gets connected. That's it. That's how you have a lot of things and then you separate them one by one like that. Or you say, Refika, I cannot do that. I cannot like work my way around and wait for the seeds to grow. What you can do, you can buy something like this. This time could be really good in your kitchen. But what you can do, if you have an already existing pot, let's say, here I have my rosemary. She's a very old one. And here we have nothing else at the side. I make a hole. Same thing, a bit of fertilizer and we take it out. Oh, come on. Like this has a lot of roots here. It might be hard because she created so many roots. I don't want to spoil it, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this. There's a crack in everything. That's how the life gets in. And these are the roots. And I'm also gonna put a bit of turf because the soil was so thick. I also put it to the side and put this beautiful thing right here and add some soil, fertilizer too, and voila, we had the rosemary. Now we have the thyme for a long time. Always the water is good for them to go and have befriended with each other, whatever. Sorry. Okay, so one final thing. Now, because it's the season for everything, it's bahar time, it's springtime, the name carries the meaning, everything springs. If it's a garlic, the garlic starts to have roots from the bottom and green things from the top. Or it's an onion, you suddenly find out that the onion grows such things suddenly. Or if it's a potato, same things. From here, from there, from somewhere, some roots start to come out. Okay, they're called sprouts. They sprout because they want to have sex and have babies kind of thing. So it's their way of showing. And if you have these are still edible, but you can make this into a garlic. And also, like the spring onions, you can eat the spring garlics. And it's very beautiful. How can you do that? This is something we do for the onions. But I'll tell you how to do it. An empty plastic bottle that you can find from somewhere. Yes, Burak. This is it. We create holes.
And we fill it with the perfect ratio, soil, fertilizer and the peat.
I make a hole with my finger. I put the garlic, the wiggly side at the bottom. Wait. See you. At the same time, some turf. Something like this. And these are rockets. And when you want to water, you can water it from here. Also have few holes at the bottom and have a plate. That's it. We do this for several years now. So in such a small place, I don't know, you can have 20 spring onions, maybe more. Like you cut some and they grow more. So it's so great. That's it, huh, Burak? Take care. Hope you like the video. Hope you like our new series. If you tell us what you want us to make.